Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. This is Bruna. Today, as you can see, we are going to be crocheting this beautiful halter top, perfect for summertime and also festivals if you are planning on going to any festivals this year for summertime. And the best thing about this crochet top is that you can make in only one day. That's all you need. So it's a super quick project. I've started in the morning and at night I already had this top completely finished. I'm super excited to share this one with you. It has some hexagons, so it looks super different, some flowers, and how you put this top together, it's so fun and easy to do. And from the base of this top you can just carry on creating rows until you have the sizing that you need. So I really hope you like it. If you do, don't forget to leave your massive thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you can watch more videos like this one. If you want to make this top, come along and let's crochet this one together. So here's everything I'm going to be using for today's project, starting with the yarns that I'm using. Here I have the beautiful Iggy yarn by Teslan.com. This one is a sports number 2 yarn weight. I love using this yarn for summertime. Also, it's 100% cotton. So these are all the shades I'm going to be using, kind of mixing all of them together. I want to do a super colorful top. So I have here all of these shades. And then here I have a knitting mill. I'm going to be using this for creating the straps, a 3mm hook, small pair of scissors, tapestry needle so that we can do the sewings and the weave-ins. And then here, the last thing and the main thing for this top, we are going to be needing the hexagons that I have already on my channel. So I'm going to be leaving in the little eye, also in the description below. So feel free to check it out if you don't know how to make it. Also, I am going to be using a measuring tape. I'm going to be measuring here the hexagon for you. And then for the hexagons, I'm going to be using the plain one in the video, just one, and then 6 of the flower hexagon. So in total, we are going to be using 7 hexagons. When creating the hexagons, you want to make sure that you leave enough yarn at the end of the last round so that we can do the sewings, at least using this yarn here that is at the end, so that we don't have to attach a new yarn in place, and also then we don't have a lot of weave-ins to do. So you're gonna get the plain one, you're going to be placing right in the middle, and then all the flower ones will go around the hexagon. Alright, so here I have the shape that we are going to be having right at the top and at the front of our halter top. And this one, it's going to be for all the sizes. The only thing that is going to be different will be for the rest and the bottom here of the top, because then you're gonna have to do until you reach a certain sizing for different sizes. Alright, I'm going to be showing you in a size medium. So once you have this shape, turn all the hexagons on the reverse. So now I have all the hexagons on the reverse. You're gonna get a tapestry needle and you're going to be choosing one of them to start. I'm going to be starting with the ones here on the outside, because then we can attach all of them in a circle, and then this one we can then attach a new yarn and sew the middle all together, because I didn't leave enough yarn for this one, so I'm gonna have to attach a new yarn for that. So I'm going to be starting with this one and this one together. So grab both of them like this. So it's going to be right side facing each other. And then we are going to be using this yarn to sew one of the sides close. So thread this yarn into your tapestry needle. Also, you want to make sure that you have the yarn that is going to come next facing the other hexagon, so that you can use this yarn to sew the other one. So make sure that it's kind of in the right direction. So grab both of them and now we can start sewing. So I'm going to be moving this yarn into the corner of the hexagon and then go through the corner of the other hexagon on the other side and then sew the two sides together and go through that very first stitch just one more time so that we can lock this in place. And now you can just follow the stitches and sewing the two hexagons together. All the way down, one stitch from one side, one from the other, and sew the two together. Just like this. When you get at the end, just match the corners. So the corner of this side and the corner of the other side, and sew the two together. Go through that last one more time, leaving a little loop right at the end, like this. And then go through the loop with the yarn and make it nice and tight to fasten off. And now you can weave this yarn in. So we have finished the sewing of these two hexagons. All right, weaving now completed. We can cut off this yarn and add the next hexagon. And then you're going to be bringing the next hexagon and sew into this one. Make sure that the yarn of this one, it's facing the other side so that we can do this sewing later. And you can grab this too. Remember, right sides facing like this. And then you're going to be threading this yarn and sewing the sides together. And that's all we are going to be doing for this very first part. So I'm going to be sewing this one with this one, this one with this one, this one with this one, and this one with this one, and then this one with this one. So it's going to turn into a circle. And then I will be back to show you how to sew this one in place, because this one is going to go all the way around, grabbing all the flower hexagons. So I'm here attaching the last one in place, as you can see, and you're just going to be following the same steps. Join both sides together and then sew one of the sides close all the way down. And to make sure that you're gonna have enough yarn to sew the hexagon right in the middle, so enough yarn to go around, you wanna get 3 times the sizing of the hexagon of yarn. So go around the hexagon 3 times, so 1, 2, and 3. This should be enough. If you want a little bit more, then just go around one more time, like 4 times, just to be completely sure that it's gonna fit. All right, I did 4 times, but 3 times usually works perfectly. So I'm going to be threading this yarn into a tapestry needle. You can choose any of the stitches around. I'm going to be doing this one. Just go through with your tapestry needle into that stitch, leave a little tail, and you want to make a knot right into this stitch, just so that we can start right here. And then with this end, we can just weave in later here at the back. Bring the circle, place it right where it has to go. And now you can just follow the stitches and sew this all the way around. So go through the same stitch of a hexagon as the one that you did here, the attaching. Go through that stitch and then the one that you did the attaching, and sew the 2 together just to secure this yarn in place. And now you can just go around. When you get into the corner, you're just gonna choose any stitch here in the corner and 1 stitch of the corner in the middle of the hexagon in the middle, and then just sew the 2 together. We have a chain of 2 here in the corner, so I'm just grabbing 1 stitch, one of the chains. You don't have to do 2. It's going to be completely up to you. From here, I'm moving to the next stitch on both sides and sew the 2 together. And then I just go down, matching the stitches and sewing them together until the next corner. So I got into the next corner, so just choose 1 stitch from this side and then 1 stitch of the hexagon in the middle, where you have the chain 2, sew it together, and then move to the other side. And then repeat the same steps all the way around. Last stitch, sewn together. Just gonna go through the last one more time. Leave a little loop at the end and go through the loop. Pull nice and tight to fasten off. Make sure that there is no gaps. I can see one little gap here, so I'm just gonna be closing this gap at the end. And then I'm going to fasten off here again. And now I'm going to make a knot with these 2 yarns and I'm going to weave them in. So now I have all the sewings completed. We are going to be now turning here on the right side. You can see how beautiful that looks. We are going to be making all of the deep points of the hexagons going around nice and straight so that we can start the actual top. And by doing this, it's going to create kind of like a circle so that we are going to be having a nice base to create the top around here, our hexagons. So go ahead and get the yarn that you have used as the last round for the hexagons and create a slip knot. So choose a corner, go through the corner, and then you're going to pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through. So I'm going to be attaching with the single crochet. Also, this is going to be counting as the very first stitch and the very first single crochet. And then you're going to chain 1 and another single crochet into that same corner, the chain 2 space. So into every corner we are going to be doing this, single crochet, chain 1 and single crochet. So go ahead and create 1/2 double crochet into the next 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the last one, 6. When you get into the next corner, we are going to be doing 1 single crochet, a chain of 1 and 1 single crochet. So now we got into the very first deep point of our hexagons. So into the very first 2 stitches, we are going to be doing 1/2 double crochets. So 1/2 double crochet into the next 2 stitches. And then 1 double crochet into the next 2 stitches. So now we are going to be creating extended double crochets. If you don't know how to do this, you're going to be doing first the very first part of a double crochet, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through 1, keeping that last one on the hook, and then you're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. This is just a little bit bigger than the double crochet and it makes it nice and even all the way across. So into the next stitch, create another extended double crochet. When you get into the chain 2 on this side, you're going to be doing 2 extended double crochets into that same chain 2 space. So 2. There we go. So now we are going to be doing 1 extended double crochet right in the middle of the sewing of both hexagons. Just find 1 stitch right in the middle and then create an extended double crochet. And now we can repeat the same as we did here on this hexagon on the other side. So into the chain 2, we are going to be doing 2 extended double crochets. And now into the next 2, we are going to be doing 1 extended double crochet, one double crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then 1/2 double crochet into the last 2. So now here we have the deep point of this very first part nice and covered, and it looks really nice, as you can see. And now we can start all over again from this very first part here with the half double crochets, and then repeat the same here into the deep. So I'm going to show you one more time. So when you get into the next corner that it's nice and flat with the hexagon, we are going to be doing 1 single crochet, a chain of 1 and 1 single crochet. And then we are going to be doing here half double crochets all the way down into the next corner. It's going to be 6 half double crochets. And then when you get into the next corner, you're going to be doing a single crochet, a chain of 1 and another single crochet into that same chain 2 space. And now we can do the same steps as we did here into the deep. So 1 half double crochet into the next 2 stitches, 1 double crochet into the next 2, 1 extended double crochet into the next 2, into the chain 2 into this corner, 2 extended double crochets, 1 extended double crochet right in the middle of both hexagons. Now repeat the same here on the other side. Into the corner, the chain 2, 2 extended double crochets, 1 extended double crochet into the next 2, 1 double crochet into the next 2, and lastly 1 half double crochet into the last 2 stitches. And then you go into the corner again, and you're going to be repeating the same as we did from this point. So you can see now that here that we've worked the stitches, it's not as deep as on the other side here. So you're going to carry on repeating the same all the way around until you get to the very first single crochet. So once I have all this done, I will be back, and then I'm going to show you the next step. So I'm here at the end. I just have my last 2 half double crochets to complete. There we go. And then I'm gonna slip stitch into the very first single crochet. Just find a stitch and then slip stitch. And now we can do round 2, going around of what we just did. So I'm going to be using 2 stitch markers just to mark 2 places down so that we know when we have to do a certain stitch and then when we have to do the other one that we are going to be doing. So first you want to make sure that you have one of the deeps right at the top where your neck is gonna go, and then we are going to be marking these 2 stitches down, because from this stitch all the way to the other one, this is going to be the top of our halter top. So make sure that you mark these 2 corners down so that we know that here is the top of our halter top and here is going to be the bottom. So to begin, you're going to chain 1 and single crochet into that same stitch where we did the slip stitch, and then we are going to chain 1 and single crochet. You're going to be skipping the chain 1 and single crochet into the next single crochet. So we are going to be following the same as the previous round for the corners. And now we are going to be doing, on top of the half double crochets, we are going to be doing single crochets. So into the next 6 stitches, we are going to be doing single crochets. Now we go into the corner. So into the very first single crochet, we are going to be doing a single crochet. And then we are going to chain 1, skip the chain 1 space, and into the last single crochet, the next one, we are going to be doing a single crochet. So now when you get here into the deep, we are going to be doing 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then 1/2 double crochet into the next 2. So now we are going to be doing 1 double crochet into the next 9 stitches. So now 1/2 double crochet into the next 2 stitches, one single crochet into the next 2, and now we got here into the corner. So when you get into the first stitch marker, we are going to be removing it, and then we are going to be doing a single crochet into the very first single crochet that you can find into the corner. And now we are going to be starting with the side of our halter top, in which is going to go underneath your armpits. So we are going to be skipping the chain 1 space, and we are going to be doing a double crochet right into the next single crochet. So here it's where we are going to be starting to go up. And into this double crochet, make sure that you add a stitch marker. So now here we go at the bottom of the top, as you can see, right after the stitch marker. From this corner, you're going to be counting 1. So skipping this one into the next corner, you are going to be placing a stitch marker. And then skip the next one, the following one, into the next, place another stitch marker. So into these bottom stitch markers, it's where the increases are going to happen. So we are going to be doing now, from here, double crochets all the way to the very first single crochet that you have into this corner. So from this very first double crochet all the way to here, we have 7 double crochets, and we have reached now here the corner, the very first one before the increase. So into this one, we are going to be doing, we have here a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. So double crochet into the first single crochet stitch, and then find the chain 1 space, go into that chain 1, and then double crochet, and then double crochet into the next single crochet stitch. So just single crochet into every stitch until you reach the stitch marker. Here we have all the different stitches, just double crochet into every stitch until the stitch marker. So when you get into the corner, I'm going to be removing the stitch marker. And here we have the single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. So you're going to double crochet into the first single crochet, and then into the chain 1 space, this chain here, go underneath and around this chain 1. You can see that we still have here the single crochet stitch, and then into this stitch we are going to be doing an increase. So it's going to be 2 double crochets, a chain of 1, and 2 double crochets for the increase, all into the same chain 1 space. And then we are going to be doing the next increase is going to go into the chain 1 space here. So now you can double crochet into the next stitch. Remember, that is the single crochet stitch, double crochet, and now you can double crochet all the way to the next stitch marker into every stitch. You will see that it's going to look a little bit weird at the beginning, but once we add more rows, it's going to look nice. When you get into the next stitch marker, so I did my double crochet into the very first single crochet already. So now into the chain 1 space, find that stitch. There we go. We are going to be doing the increase, in which is 2 double crochets, a chain of 1, and 2 double crochets into that same stitch. If you want, you can return the stitch marker into the chain 1. And now from here, you can carry on creating double crochets until you reach the next stitch marker. So double crochet into every stitch. So I got into my last stitch marker. So we are going to be removing the stitch marker, and here I have the corner. So we are going to be repeating the same as on the other side. So the first single crochet, we are going to be doing a double crochet, and then you're going to be placing a stitch marker into this double crochet, because here is where we are going to be doing the top under the armpit. And then we are going to be skipping the chain 1 space and then single crochet into the next single crochet of the previous round. So now here for the other side, repeating the same as we did on the other into the deep points. So here we have the side of the top, here the neck, and here the other side. Here's where we did the different stitches to just cover a little bit more the deep points. So 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, 1 half double crochet into the next 2, 1 double crochet into the next 9 stitches, now 1 half double crochet into the next 2, so now 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches to finish the deep of the hexagon. Now we got into the corner again. So here we have the corner. We are going to be doing the same as we did for the very first corner. So we are going to be doing a single crochet into the next stitch, and then we are going to be doing a chain 1, and then skipping the chain 1 of the previous round, and then single crochet into the next single crochet stitch. So now we got into the side of the hexagon, so we are going to single crochet into the next 6 stitches. So we got into the next corner again, you're going to be doing the same, so single crochet into the first single crochet, chain 1, skip the chain 1 space, and single crochet into the following single crochet. So now here for the top is going to be the neck of our halter top, so we are going to single crochet from this side all the way to the other when you find the very first single crochet. So now just find the very first single crochet and then slip stitch that in place, and we are done with the second round. Let me show you how this one looks. This is basically the pattern for our top. Once you have these 2 rounds that are a little bit complicated done, the rest of the top will be amazingly easy. So we can now chain 1 here, and we can cut off yarn and fasten off. If you want, you can weave this in. I'm going to be doing at the end. So now we are going to be turning the top this way. So we're gonna have the bottom at the top and the top at the bottom, because we are going to be working from this point to the other stitch marker, the last one, going back and forth, creating rows. Go ahead and choose the next color you want to use. I'm going to be using yellow because at the beginning here I want to follow what we have on the top, and then create a slip knot. And we are going to be attaching into this very first stitch marker. Remember that the top has to be always on the right side, so that all the rows are on the right side too. So insert your hook into that double crochet where the stitch marker is, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So I attach with a single crochet always my yarns. I think that's the best finishing. And then right after the single crochet, I'm going to be doing a double crochet into this very same stitch, the very first one. And this is going to be the first stitch we are going to be counting. So we are not counting the single crochet that we did at the beginning. So now we are going to be following all the double crochets, and we are going to be creating double crochets right on top until we get into the stitch marker, the chain 1 space. So when you get into the increase, make sure that you cover the 2 double crochets that it's here. I did one already. This is going to be the second double crochet. And now you go into the chain 1 space. So remove the stitch marker, and then into the chain 1 space, you're going to be doing the same increase. Going to be 2 double crochets, a chain of 1, and 2 double crochets. Always the same increase. If you want, you can return the stitch marker so you know that this is the chain 1. So once you've done the first increase, from here follow all the stitches that you have until the next stitch marker with double crochets. So following the same as we did here. So once you get into the next stitch marker, we are going to be doing the same. So make sure that you cover all the double crochets, even here the ones of the increase. When you get into the chain 1, you're going to be doing the increase. So 2 double crochets, a chain of 1, and 2 double crochets into that same chain 1 space. If you want, you can return stitch marker into the chain 1. And now we are going to carry on with our double crochets into every stitch until the last stitch marker. So when I'm around the end here, I will be back and then I'll show you what to do next. So I got here at the end and I just have the stitch marker, stitch. So go ahead and remove the stitch marker and then double crochet into that stitch. And that's all we are going to be doing here at the end. I'm going to be doing 2 rows for each shade. So to go up, I chain 1, turn my project. So now we are going to be working here on the reverse. And then double crochet into this very first stitch. So it's going to be exactly the same as the other side. And by doing this, it's going to maintain really nice and straight. So I'm going to follow the same steps. So double crochet into every stitch until I reach the stitch marker. So when you get into the stitch marker, remove the stitch marker, make sure that you cover all the stitches. I have one last double crochet here that I have to cover. And then into the chain 1, you're going to be doing the increase. So it's going to be 2 double crochets, a chain of 1, and 2 double crochets, exactly the same as the previous row. If you want, you can return stitch marker into the chain 1. And now you can just follow the stitches. This time the double crochet is going to be more visible because we are working on the reverse. So do make sure that you cover all the stitches that you have from one increase to the other, and then double crochet all the way to the other side, in which is the increase. And then when you get here, you're going to be doing the increase on top of the increase, and then double crochet all the way down until the very last stitch. So I'm going to be doing all this, and then I will be back to show you the next row, as I'm going to be doing something a little bit different at the beginning and at the end of each row for a couple of rows so that we can do the fitting of the top. So I got here at the end, as you can see, you're just going to be following all the stitches all the way down. Here we have the last double crochet. You remember that we did the single crochet and then the double crochet into the same stitch. So it's the stitch right on top of the single crochet, in which is the double crochet. You will see there is a stitch of the double crochet. That's the last one that you're going to be getting. So now here we can chain 1. If you are changing shades, chain 1, cut off yarn, and then you can fasten off and bring the next shade, in which for me is going to be the copper. So now what I would suggest to you is just try this on right at kind of towards your body at the front, and see how the armpits are looking underneath your armpits, because you don't want this part to be too deep and touching too much underneath your armpits. You want it to kind of going around your armpits. If that's happening with your top, mine it is a little bit, what we are going to be doing is creating a couple of decreases at the beginning and at the end of each row, so that it goes around the armpits. Here we have the top on the reverse. When changing the shade, you want to make sure that you follow the pattern. So to attach, you want to make sure that you attach into the stitch where you've started, and then we can turn, and that's going to make sure that all the rows will be correct throughout the project. So to attach a new shade, you're going to be finding that very first double crochet, which is this stitch right here. So insert into that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And then from here, you are going to be turning the project, because this is what we are doing. You want to make sure that you have one row on the reverse, one row on the right side of the top. And then here for this row, I'm going to be doing a decrease at the beginning and at the end. And to do the decrease into this very first stitch, we are going to be starting here. We are not counting the single crochet as a stitch. You're going to be doing into this first stitch, the first part of the double crochet, yarn over, pull through 2, keeping the last 2 on the hook. And then you're going to be wrapping the yarn around the hook, go through the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, keeping that last one on the hook. Once you have 3 loops on the hook, you're going to yarn over and pull through all the loops together. If you want, you can place a stitch marker into this stitch to remember you that this is going to be the last stitch when you're doing the decrease. So now from here, follow the pattern all the way around. When you get into the stitch markers, the chain 1 spaces, remember to do your increases and double crochet all the way into the other stitches. And here at the end, on the other side, I'm also going to be doing a decrease. So when I'm here, when I have 2 stitches left, I will be back and then I'll show you how to do a decrease. So at the end, if you have to do the decrease, you're going to be doing into the first one, the first part of the double crochet, yarn over, pull through 2, keeping the last one on the hook, wrap the yarn around the hook, go through the very last stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, keeping the last one on the hook, and then yarn over, pull through all the 3 loops on the hook. So that's a decrease at the end of the row. So I've decided to every 2 rows of one shade, I do 1 row of copper. So I'm going to fasten off here and then attach my new shade. So chain 1, cut off yarn, fasten off, and bring the next shade. I'm going to be doing beige for my next shade. So with the next shade, create a slip knot, and right here where you did the fasten off, you're going to be attaching the new one, following exactly the same as we did doing the one here with the copper. So attaching this yarn in place with a single crochet, and then you're going to be turning the project. I'm going to be doing this row as well with the decrease and see how that goes. So at the beginning here, we are going to be doing the decrease. So go ahead and decrease at the beginning of the row, following the same steps as we did for the copper. And then you have to decide how many decreases you're going to be doing. I think I'm going to do only 3 rows of decreases. So the copper, the first of the beige, and also the second. And then from there, I'm just going to carry on repeating exactly what we did into the yellow section, into the yellow row, the second one, following the pattern and just doing normally at the beginning and at the end, and no decreases anymore. And then you're going to be repeating the second row that we did with the yellow after you do the decreases as many times as you want until you have the length of the top you need. So now I have the length of my top completed. It's a little bit above my belly button. That's how I wanted mine, but you can do as long as you want. And you can see here how I've changed the shades. So I've started with yellow, copper, beige, copper, green, only 1 row of green, and then copper, pink, copper, and then I finished here with white. So now we are going to be creating a band that is going to go here on the sides. It's going to be on both sides. They're going to be exactly the same, so that we can create the back of the top. So it goes to the back and it closes at the back. So now choose one of the sides that you want to do. I'm going to be showing you here on the left side, because this is the left side when you look this way, when you try it on. So I'm going to show you the left side, and then the right side I can do off the camera because it's going to be exactly the same. I'm going to be attaching exactly where I left off, and then just double crochets back and forth until you reach the back of the top. So I'm gonna get the copper, create a slip knot, and we are going to be attaching exactly the same as we've been doing for all of the other rows. So attach it in place with a single crochet, turn project, double crochet into this very first stitch, and then you're going to double crochet all the way down. I'm going to come back once I'm right at the end, right at the bottom here, before the chain one space, so that you know exactly what you have to do. So I got here at the bottom now. Before the chain one space, you want to make sure that you cover all the double crochets, even the ones here in the increase. And then all we have to do is to go into the chain one space and create one double crochet. And that's it. And then from here, I'm changing shades. So I'm going to chain one, cut off yarn, and bring my next shade. I'm going to be doing blue, and then attach this yarn in place, turn project, then double crochet into the very first stitch where you did the single crochet, and then now you're going to be following what you have into the previous row and creating double crochets all the way down. So at the end, you're going to be making the last double crochet, and then for this one I'm doing 2 rows. So I'm going to chain one, turn project, double crochet into this very first stitch. So chain one does not count as a stitch, and then from here double crochet all the way down. This is everything we are going to be doing, just going back and forth, creating rows. And then you can do as many as you need to reach the middle of your back, because the other side has to cover the other half, and you want to choose how much space you want to leave at the back as well. I'm probably going to leave around, I'm not sure yet, but usually I leave around 5 or 6 centimeters at the back so that we can do the crisscrossing, but I will come back and let you know exactly how many rows I did for both sides. So as you can see, I have finished both sides. I just have to show you how to do the squares on this other side, so we are going to be doing that. Go ahead and attach the next shade in place. In this case for me is the copper, and make sure that you do this also on the right side. This is the reverse, here's the right side. So you're going to be attaching here on the right side of the top. Attach it in place with a single crochet, and then you're going to double crochet into that very same stitch, just as we've been starting all the rows. So now to create the squares, you're going to chain one, skip a stitch, and then one double crochet into the next 3 stitches. So now chain one, skip a stitch, one double crochet into the next 3 stitches. And then keep on repeating that same step, chain one, skip one, one double crochet into the next 3, all the way down, and then I'll meet you right at the end. When you get at the end, you're going to be having 2 stitches left, so you're going to chain one, skip the next stitch into the following stitch, which is the last stitch. You're going to double crochet. So we are going to be using these little squares here to do the crisscrossing at the back of the top. I'm going to go from here and go down the bottom of the top to create the finishing here at the bottom. We can then, from here, go all the way down the bottom, all the way across, and creating the finishing here at the bottom. I'm going to be doing some single crochets. So chain one and then single crochet into this sided double crochets. Now here we have a little stitch you can see in between the 2 double crochets. Into that you're going to be doing a single crochet. So now here we have the double crochet, so just find a stitch going around that and single crochet on top. Now we have the stitch in between the 2 rows, single crochet. Now we have a sided double crochet, so single crochet going around that. Now we have the stitch in between the 2 rows, single crochet, and just keep on repeating this until you get to the transition from here to this point. When you get into the stitches again, it's going to be a lot easier because you have them. So you can see, go into the first stitch, single crochet, and then just go down, creating single crochets, following the stitches. So when you get here into the other side, just carry on repeating the same as you did into the other side. So single crochet into every stitch you can find. So when you get here at the end, just carry on finding stitches and doing single crochets. The last one I'm going to be doing into the very first double crochet stitch. So it's nice and straight at the bottom here as well. So now we can fasten off. So chain 1, cut off yarn and fasten off. The bottom of the top looks like this. I really like it because it's nice and simple, the detail, but it looks really cute because it just gives that extra detail that it needs. So now we are going to be moving into the top here, and we are going to be attaching the yarn and doing single crochets into the other side, so it's nice and clean here too, because you can see that it's all uneven. So you just want to make it nice, exactly like here the other side. Make sure that you do all these finishings also on the right side of the top. Go ahead and get the copper or the shade you are using, create a slip knot and attach right here at the beginning in place with a single crochet. I'm going to feed these 2 ends with my single crochets. Here you already know what to do. Just follow the same as we did at the bottom of the top, finding stitches and creating single crochets. So as you can see, I have finished all the single crochets here at the top, and now I got into the hexagons. So I'm going to just create single crochets into every stitch around, and that's all I'm going to be doing. So just following the stitches and creating single crochets. The first one is going to be this one, and then single crochet all the way around. So I finished going around the hexagons, as you can see, just single crochet all the way around. Now we can carry on here on the other side, following the same as we did on the other side, exactly the same. So when you get here at the end, you're just going to be finding any stitch. I'm going to be doing this one and just slip stitching that in place. Now we can chain 1, cut off yarn, fasten off. So this is how the top looks like right now. So we have the finishings all done, the top and the bottom with the squares, everything is done. Now what I'm going to be doing is weaving all of the ends in. Once you have it on, you're going to be folding here at the back, and then the front is going to look like this. It's looking pretty nice so far. I'm loving it. I love the detail here at the front. So once I have all the weavings done, I will be back, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to be doing the strap. I'm going to be using my knitting mill. So as you can see, the ends are all weaved in. It's now ready to go and add the straps. So basically the top is 95% completed, because the last thing that we have to do is now add the straps. And I'm going to show you a little swatch, because I do have both of them completed. If you know how to do this, you can skip this part and you can go ahead and do yours. I've done mine 180 centimeters long. I decided to do with the copper yarn. First, you want to make sure that all the hooks are open. When you go around, you can see this little metal thing here has to be down before we add the yarn. So put the yarn first through this wire on the side, this loop, and then you're going to be inserting right in the middle of the knitting mill. And you want to make sure that for this one you leave a long tail, because with this tail we are going to be sewing the strap in place. You want to make sure that the rotator here, the handle, it's on the right side so you can go and rotate it. For the very first part we are going to be doing without the weight at the bottom, because you have to pull so it goes in correctly. So now to begin, you're going to be catching into the very first one, the very first hook that goes around, and then you're going to be skipping the second. You can get your hook to help you. And then you're going to be catching the yarn into the third hook, and then you're going to be skipping the fourth one, the last one. There we go. And now from here, you can just go around and pulling the yarn at the bottom. Here you can now add the weight. Right at the bottom, like this, as we are going to be lifting it so it goes down. And now we can rotate. And every time it catches into the next hook, you want to pull down so it goes down, as you can see. Pull down. Pull down. So rotate and pull down. Once you see that it's nice and going around and not getting caught anywhere, you can just go around and around, turning the handle around and creating your cord, your knitted cord. It's that simple. It's just at the beginning that you have to rotate and pull down so that it starts without any problems. So I'm just going to be doing a little swatch here so I can show it to you. You can see the cord coming out at the bottom. I think I'm going to be doing this size for the little swatch. Once you have the sizing you want, you can then cut off the yarn. Any size, because it's just going to finish here at the top. And then you're going to be rotating it until it finishes all the way around. It's going to release from all the hooks and you are done. Now, at the end here, we have to basically fasten off. So you're gonna get your tapestry needle and you're going to be threading this yarn at the end into your tapestry needle. So just check where the yarn is coming from. So this is the first one. So you're gonna go into the second loop, pass the needle through that, and then now into the third, the fourth, and then into the first one. And then pass it all through, and then pass the yarn all through and make it nice and tight. And that's how you fasten off right at the end. Now you're going to be hiding this yarn into the stitches here. So just find a stitch, and then you're going to be hiding it going through the stitches like this. Just weaving in, basically. And now skip the first loop and then go back into all the others, moving the needle all the way up. And now, lastly, you can just hide the yarn right in the middle of the cord, of the strap. Right in the middle, as you can see. And then just come out into any stitch going down. And that's it. That's how you hide the yarn at the end. And then you can just cut off the end and we are done. So once you have both straps completed, I have two, as you can see, all done. Now we can attach the straps into our top. We are going to be doing the attaching here on the reverse because we are going to be sewing on the reverse. So make sure that it's on the reverse. So now you have to choose where you want to place your straps. I'm going to be doing right at the top. There is the corner here. So the one that it's right in the middle at the top, you have the ones on the sides, this two and this two. So it's the one right in the middle. And you want to get the side of the strap where you have the yarn so that we can use this to sew. We are going to be inserting from the right side of the top towards the reverse, like this. And then the end here, when you go through, you want to leave about 4 centimeters, as you can see, so that we can do the sewing. And then you're just going to be folding it towards the strap. And then here we can do the sewing of the straps going around. Get your tapestry needle, thread this yarn into your tapestry needle. So first you want to lock the end in place so that we can go down. So just choose a stitch, it can be this one, and then you're going to go through this stitch twice so that we can lock this in place like this. So choose one stitch of the strap that is at the front and one stitch of the strap that is at the back, and then sew the two together. One stitch of the front, one of the back, and sew it together, and then go down doing this same step down to here. Now you have to move this yarn to the other side. Just find a stitch and move to the other side like this through the back of the strap. And now we can go up, repeating the same steps. Once you're here at the top, just find the last stitch into a last stitch of the other side. Sew the two together, go into that stitch one more time, leave a little loop at the end, go through the loop and make it nice and tight to fasten off. And now you can just weave this yarn into any stitch you want. Once the weave in is done, you can go ahead and cut off this yarn. And now the strap is sewn in place. This is how it looks. I really like how this looks. It's a really good idea when you don't like doing crochet straps. They can be super long to do. So this is a faster option basically. So now I'm going to be doing exactly the same here on the other side. So once you have the straps attached in place, we can now take it down, fold. So we have the reverse on the inside. We are going to be folding the sides in like this. And now we can do the crisscrossing the lace down here at the back. So I'm going to be starting with the one on the right and move to the very first square on the left side. Make sure that you leave enough for your shoulders. You can always fix when you try this on. And then the one on the left, move through the square on the right. I'm going to be skipping one square and going into the following one. Skipping one into the following one. And repeating that all the way down. And now, believe it or not, we have our top completed. Just tie a little bow at the bottom and we are done. It's looking absolutely stunning. This is probably one of my favorite tops I ever made in crochet because it looks so different and so cute at the same time, so colorful. I love it so much. What I love the most about this is that I made in one day. I just finished here in the morning just attaching the straps, but basically all the rest I made yesterday in one day. How incredible is that? And this yarn is actually a little bit thinner, it's not even thick, so super happy on how quick this was to make. And if you're wondering how much yarn I've used to complete this entire top, only 160 grams of yarn. You can actually make this in one day and then the next day you can go to a festival. How incredible is that? So I'm super happy on how this top turned out and I really hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. And if you did enjoy, don't forget to leave your massive thumbs up and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. And also don't forget to turn on the notification bell to receive notifications every time I post a new video. Thank you so much again for watching and I'll see you next week. Bye bye!